Hello everyone and welcome back to the United Stand Fans Forum as Manchester United drop points. They dropped 3 points to a 10-man Newcastle side up in the northeast at St James's Park. And I think we're all a bit shell-shocked here in the United Stand studio. Overall, a very poor performance from Manchester United. I mean, we knew this was going to happen at some point, but the manner it happened, it was just not a good watch and sort of inexcusable, really, from Manchester United's point of view. To lose against 10 men in the manner that we did, it's not good enough, and we're going to get into it. So, Kev, Mordzs and Tul.
Good evening.
Good evening. Everyone, get your comments in the chat. Let us know how you're thinking and you're feeling. This is your fans forum as well, and let's have a constructive debate. I mean, there's a lot of unhappy faces, of course. We never want to lose a game, and we're used to the winning feeling. Tul, you're back, and you're back with a loss. Did United fans get a bit too carried away?
Bit harsh, blame it on Tul. Come on.
No. I'm not going to say we got too
That's one of the best intros I've ever heard.
Cheers.
Sorry, Tul.
I haven't been on for a game under Carrick. Yeah, I did Fulham, to be fair, so this one won. Carried away, I don't know. I went into it confident, but you're allowed going to games confident when you've not been beat in months. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, we weren't going to go the entire season unbeaten. We weren't going to do that. You know, we weren't going to win the league or anything. You know, we all get giddy sometimes and have a little look at the table and whatever. But you know, we were going to get beat eventually. And this game, historically, Newcastle away, we've always struggled under the past. Probably 3 managers. We've probably been beat under the last 3-4 managers Newcastle away. So it's not like I'm not looking at it in a way of like, oh, this is why Carrick shouldn't get the job X, Y, Z. I'm not even thinking about who the manager should be next season. I just think wait till the end of the season, innit? Do you know what I mean? We've got an interim manager. Just wait till the end of the season. We're in Champions League spots right now. You know, if it gets like that, if we lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row, then I might start going, oh, right, we had it in our hands and we've really cocked it up. Then I might start getting a bit moody. But right now, no one can knock my mood about United right now, mate. From what we had, we're getting beat twice a week. Never mind getting beat every week. We're getting beat twice a week, midweek and on the weekend. So it's going to take quite a bit to knock my mood at the moment. So rubbish performance, but see how we do next week.
One thing I wanted to say off the back of that, Tul, because I completely get you in the sense of we have been getting points on the board. This was a big opportunity to pull away from the rest in terms of Villa got beat by Chelsea, by the way, João Pedro. Wow, I mean 4-1. And then, you know, City do drop points. And I know we're not sort of chasing the title race or anything like that. Liverpool drop points in the sense of against Wolves. I mean, that was a real benefit to Manchester United. We could really pull ahead there and solidify our spot in them Champions League places. And against 10 men, it feels like it's handed on a plate to you again. I mean, Kev, for you, I think, for me, it's not really losing a game because it's going to happen at some point. It's the fact we've lost against 10 men, which is always, in my opinion, inexcusable. And it's the fact we have played pretty poorly over the last few and the results have sort of covered it up a little bit. And I always say the result is the most important thing. But when you play poorly and you lose against 10 men, you do sort of have a few questions on, well, are the wheels going to fall off now? Are we going to bounce back from that? What are your thoughts? Is this a test now how to bounce back from this?
It is. I would say more than anything, a big, massive kick up the arse. And I think maybe they did need it. You've just mentioned previous games, West Ham we scored on late, Everton, Crystal Palace, just these games recently, and adding to the mix Newcastle this evening. It's kind of 4 games where we've not actually played well, and this evening we did not play well. You have to look at it in isolation. The fact that they were down to 10 men, huge opportunity really to go out there, like you say, with Liverpool getting beat last night, and it's not gone for us this evening. It is tough to take as a support, of course it is, because you look at that real opportunity to go out there and just stamp our authority in the top 4, sort of cement it in there. But at this moment in time, I'm glass half full. I'm like Tul. If anything, you know, it's still in our hands and it's up to us to go out there and do it. There is a slight concern with the performance levels. There's only so much vibes and, you know, good, positive kind of feeling in the fan base. there does come a certain stage where you do kind of start looking at it now. Business end of the season, do not let this go. But again, I would say massive boot up the arse for the players, because they have to realise they can't keep getting away with it every single week. At the weekend, Crystal Palace, the sending off was a massive swing, and I mean a massive swing in that game to get a penalty, to have the extra man advantage. I actually felt in a strange way this evening at St James's, the sending off worked in Newcastle's favour. So we look like, well, they look like...
We maybe got complacent, it galvanised them.
Yeah. And there is such a thing as that, where a team, they will put more effort in. They're going to look at each other and say, we're going to be playing 45 minutes here, we're down to 10 men, we really need to muck in. And they fought for every single ball they did it, whether United mentality-wise thought, second half, we go out here, it's, we've got an extra man, but it does happen in football.
Well, that's the frustrating part for me, because for me there is no excuse to not give 110% every single game, and I'm not saying any player intentionally did that, but we've got one game a week. We should be winning everything, especially against 10 men. There literally isn't an excuse. There isn't an excuse. There wasn't an excuse when we did it at home against Everton, and there's not an excuse now. And for me, you've got one game a week. You're on a good run of results, maybe not the last few performances, but a good run of results. You've just seen Liverpool drop points. It's in your hands. They're now down to 10 men. You've got it on a plate, and I just felt there was no urgency. You weren't moving the ball quick enough. What worried me is the decision making in the final third. So many forced passes when there was a clear pass out wide, which would create a better chance. And I just thought we looked out of ideas a little bit, which was a little bit a cause of concern for me. I mean, Mordzs, how are you feeling about it overall?
Same as Tul, to be fair. I think, it's a horrible loss. I was saying before we came on here, I hate coming on this forum and just complaining. Like, it's such a draining thing to do. Like, it's all right complaining in your head, but having to come up here and talk about how poor we've been and blah, it's so boring. But look, like I said, it's a deflating loss, because it almost felt like Tul said, it almost felt like we could probably get a result every game. At one point it felt like, even though we're playing bad, we're somehow winning games, etc. So for this one, it's bad because it's on both sides. It definitely, you can't just say it's all on Carrick, and you definitely can't just say it's all on the players. There's both sides you can find faults at. Obviously with Carrick, some of the decisions he made today, some of the substitutions. I mean, bloody hell, Malacia. I didn't think I'll be sat here this season and be talking about Malacia. I'll be honest. I didn't think that would be even a conversation, but that it is a conversation today. But yeah, Carrick, I think some of his decisions were wrong, and then playing wise, like, some of these guys have got to really step up in these kind of games. I think Mbeumo, what he's poor today. For the midfield in general, Mainoo wasn't great. Casemiro, even though he scored, I think in general, I don't think he was great. Bruno, some of the chances, not even the chances, but the decisions, like you said, in the final third was very poor. And yeah, we didn't play to the levels that I expect these guys to be playing at. So yeah, overall, it was a poor loss. But at the same time, if you said to me, look, we're going to lose a game eventually, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't say there's no way we're going to lose a game with Michael Carrick until the end of the season. No, we all know that eventually one of these games is going to happen. It's just about being able to take, I guess, the positives from whatever we can get from today, and hopefully, like I said, win against Villa.
The substitutions, I think, we can look at, and he did kind of throw the kitchen sink at it a little bit. And at a stage, we're looking at it thinking, where are these players playing? What's the setup? What's going on? The one that you can look back at, and Mordzs has just mentioned, is the Malacia one, because, I mean, for God's sake, he's warming up on the sideline, and I'm thinking, I forgot he was even at Manchester United. It gets to a point where you're like, when's the last time he played? And then you're thinking, all right, he is a natural left back, but what kind of, game time has he had, fitness level wise? To come on, we lose the goal, and it is quite evident. I'm sure Malacia will be made up to be some kind of meme this evening, with the tune, you spin me right round, baby, and Malacia doing that 360, because it was just embarrassing. I mean, as a defender, you said to me before, would you have stopped that? As a defender, you know what to do.
If you've not got the...
If you're going to show him onto a foot, you don't turn your back again and again. And I'm like, what is he doing? You're inviting a shot. Lamans has got absolutely no chance. It's a great effort and a great goal to win the game. But little instances like that, shall we say, with Carrick, you do look at that and you think, well, you've just thrown him into a game high intensity, at St James's Park, and really that did not pay off for him.
It was a mistake. It was a big mistake. And
Huge.
I think if it was 11 versus 11, I don't know if that same substitution would have been made. And maybe that's unfair to say. Look, we've got an issue at full-back, and Mazraoui got injured, which he wasn't expecting. Mazraoui would have seen out the game if he didn't get injured. However, for me, Malacia shouldn't have ever played a minute for Manchester United again after that Bodo Glimt stint. I saw what I needed to say in the Europa League. I'm pretty sure it was against Bodo Glimt at Old Trafford and he got absolutely rinsed. And I felt for him. Nothing against the person. He's out of his depth. That injury, unfortunately, really stunted his growth at Manchester United. And again, he got thrown in at St James's Park where they were on top of us. Yes, we were against 10 men, but they were on us. And he was out of his depth. And I don't want to pin the loss on him because we were pretty poor before he came on, even before he came on. However, that goal, it was absolutely schoolboy defending.
There's a management decision to bring him on, like you say, at that time of the game. And you're not telling me Eddie Howe
should have been Aidan Heaven
on the sideline has not said, let's start going down this side, 5 minutes left or whatever, normal time, everything goes down this side, give this lad something to think about. He's not played for a couple of years. Of course they're gonna. United would have done the exact same. If a player like that is coming on, hasn't played for a while, you get straight at him and test him. And that is what's happened. It's just... It's a tough one to take, like I say. He will become probably a meme for turning his back like that, but we were watching it, we said at the time, you cannot do that. That's basic defending that.
Especially when you've made the attacking substitutions, of putting Xerxes on as well as Sesko and Ahmad and Cunha, and you've taken a midfielder out. Really, it should have been Aidan Heaven, who was a little bit more defensively astute.
Yeah.
Is that substitution? That's the route he should have gone down, in my opinion. I mean, someone messaged me, and I'm going to come to some super chats in just a second, so keep getting them in because I'm going to get to them. Someone messaged me during the game and said, you can tell we're playing poorly. I know it's against 10 men, but I wouldn't have made all of them substitutions. I would have just tried to see it out as a 1-1 draw. What are your thoughts on that, or do you think that was quite negative? Do you feel like Carrick had to go for it a little bit?
He had to go for it. What do you mean see it out of the 1-0 draw?
He was basically saying we weren't playing well.
Yeah.
We should have just kind of stuck in there and seen out a draw. Whereas making them substitutions and by the way, I thought Xerxes did all right when he came on, but making them, I would say, more attacking substitutions was sort of inviting Newcastle onto us a little bit. They were already getting onto us. They were saying they would have just sort of held out for a 1-1.
I mean, I guess I can understand the premise of that, but I think you lose either way. I think if Carrick...
Can't win, can you?
Yeah.
Can't win, you lose either way. If Carrick doesn't bring on Ahmad or he doesn't bring on Xerxes or whatever it is...
Gets called a coward.
He gets called a coward. Like the same thing happened to Amarim for doing the exact same thing, bringing on Ugarte. Everyone complains, so I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think Carrick kind of had to go and try and win the game because at the end of the day, we're still playing against 10 men. At no point if you're playing against 10 men should you think to yourself, especially when it's half time or there's 60 or not 60, like 30 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, you've always got to think to yourself you can win this kind of game. So we had to make some kind of attacking substitutions to actually go at them and potentially swing the dynamic. And there was a point in the second half, maybe around the 70 to the 80th minute where we were on top of them. I think I saw a stat while I was watching the game that we had like 85% possession in the last 10 minutes. We were on top of them for a proportion of the game. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, and we had some good chances. Throughout the whole game, we had very good chances. And Bruno had a good chance. I think Sesko had a chance as well. There's a point where Cunha ran past a couple players who ran away. Cunha, incredible game.
Yoro had a brilliant chance.
Yoro had a brilliant chance. Cunha ran past a couple players, put it in the box, and there was no one there to put it in. Bruno had a couple of shots. Mainoo had a great shot as well. There were chances where we could have scored, but again, we just couldn't put it in the back of the net. But I don't think Carrick should have ever thought to himself, let me just sit back and defend against 10 men. That to me,
and that's exactly how I would think. I would say I would have rather have lost the game giving it a go than at that stage of the game with half an hour left making defensive substitutions, shall we say, or maybe try to pack out the midfield to see out a 1-1. I'd say that's not what United's about. And in the sense of Carrick not winning, it's kind of that story about the person who wins the lottery, innit, that goes in at the pub. If he buys everybody a drink in the pub, people will be like, flash bastard. But if he doesn't, they'll go, tight bastard. He won the lottery in. So he can't really win in that sense, I would say.
That's a good
Don't know
analogy.
where I pulled that one out from.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Hold on to that.
Yeah. It's going in the back pocket, that one.
Is that your way of telling us you're taking us to the pub because you won the
I
lottery?
won the lottery, let's go.
Barney 1805 says, I'd sell our fullbacks tomorrow for ones that will actually try and cross the ball instead of passing backwards. Intensity and drive of a dead fish. Anthony Tracy says, Cunha, Mbeumo and Ahmad do not suit this 4-4-1-1 system. Adoni says, can someone please tell me why we always lose once Ugarte comes on? I don't think we can pin that on Ugarte.
I just thought it was all right.
Yeah,
It's funny though. It's funny that he comes on and we lose.
pin it on Ugarte every time.
He got a little bit giddy at one stage
Crime scene.
with that pass, didn't he?
His blood on his hand, his fingerprints are always there.
I didn't realise. I'm not going to blame the guy though.
I thought it was all right.
So did I, to be. I feel for the guy. Darren says, it was always coming. Ollie Ball is truly back, guys. We must find a coach with a clear idea for the long run, with Amorim was aiming for the future.
Yeah, bring Amorim back.
Yeah.
Emily Derry says, Dallo and Shaw, 5 goals and assists between them this season. Granted, Shaw's playing left centre-back at points, but that is not good enough defensively and questionable at times. That's before we get to the midfield. Football Unlimited says, Mainoo needs to be dropped, has been shocking recently. Class of 99 says, only positive was Xerxes showed his class. If you can't see there is a player there, your player ID needs to be revoked. I think Xerxes is super talented, and I've said on numerous shows I'd try and keep him in the summer, and because I think you need a squad. I don't think he's going to be a starter, but if we're going to be playing European football, we've got 2 games a week, you need squad players. Not everyone's going to be a starting 11 player. You can be a good squad player, and I think he's got the technical ability to be a good squad player. So I'm with you on that one, and he showed it again when he came off the bench. Filming that goal went in, but just to come off the back one of them super chats, I want to bring it to the floor here. I think Newcastle today exposed Manchester United's biggest weaknesses. They got onto them. Our midfield isn't physical enough. We need more athletes. And they've got an extremely athletic, physical midfield that are all over the shop. We couldn't handle it. That's a big weakness of ours. And another big weakness is our fullbacks. The width. They love to play with width. They love to get tricky wingers down the wing. And don't get me wrong, it's not as if Barnes and Elanga had us on toast, but we couldn't really get forward going wide. And also in terms of their fullbacks, they were on it. Lewis Hall, we had Mbeumo a lot of the game and was sort of, at one point I thought maybe even trying to entice Mbeumo to get sent off. So I feel like the width of our team got exposed, but also the midfield. And don't get me wrong, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Cunha, I think they're all really, really good players, but I felt like we didn't really have a plan B in that sense. And it was frustrating because Sesko's waiting in the box and the only one who's ever looking to cross it into him is Bruno Fernandes. And he's not going to get absolutely everything right. So for me, fullbacks is a huge area we've got to go for in the summer. And I think we're just missing top out-and-out athletes in our team. We're lacking them, and Newcastle have that. I mean, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are.
Yeah. I agree with the midfield, definitely. I feel like
it's the engine room, isn't it?
We've been saying for years when we play Newcastle that the midfield run all over our midfield. We've been saying that about 3 years with that midfield they've got. The best one weren't even playing today. Do you know what I mean? They've got midfielders like that in abundance. We could definitely do with that. I thought in the first half you could see Casemiro and Mainoo. It was a tough type of game for them to play in. They're much more suited to a game at Old Trafford with 60% possession, Casemiro and Mainoo, where they can get on the ball. But a game like that today, where they're up against it, they've not got the they've not got the athleticism really to cope with it, have they? Mordzs said before, you're probably better off just having one of them in that type of game. Unfortunately, our plan B right now is Manuel Ugarte, you won't really trust. It's probably why them two are playing. So I imagine in the summer we're going to sign a good handful of midfielders, so we've got to choose a variety. I know Carrick said something the other day which I liked about when he was on about signing a left winger, and he said it's about, not necessarily having someone who's to come in to be like a starter or to replace a starter, but someone who can let us play in more ways. Do you know what I mean? We've got to have more. We've got to have more types of plans to be able to change to in a game. Players who can go and give us something else, and we need to try and do that with the midfield. I think because I reckon we should be 2 or 3 midfielders are coming in definitely in summer. So got to get them right. It's
literally, it must be up near 10 years. Louis van Gaal, since them days, we have been banging on about this midfield. So it's not like something overnight. And as much as Mainoo and Casemiro has worked, we know that this is the last dance for Casemiro. He's going to be going at the end of the season. He has announced that. Hopefully he gives it his all. But the last couple of games, it has not worked for them too for some reason. We need to look towards the future. even them days I talk about Louis van Gaal, we had the likes of like Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger, and probably Herrera's probably one of the last ones that you look at and think, you know, if you'd have paired him with the right kind of person, we never ever get that blend right in the middle of the park. You could even argue now, there'll be people saying Mainoo has not played well the last few games, but maybe if you had somebody with a similar kind of attributes that match up right in the middle of the park, that's where games are won and lost. You boss the middle of the park, you've got a right good chance of winning football games. And so often, I mean, even a look at that midfield today, Joe Linton, you know, he was I thought he was brilliant. He walked a tightrope, could have been sent off for sarcastically applauding. It's a good job Tonali pulled him to one side, but again, Tonali, probably both of them players would walk into that.
It's a great example that of, like what we were saying then about having Casemiro and Mainoo, you probably want to have one of them. Joe Linton's a crap footballer, let's be honest. He's just a big bruiser who runs around kicking people. He's nowhere near Mainoo and Casemiro as a footballer.
Right. Yeah.
But it worked for him. Do you know what I mean? It's a different it's a different style where it worked for them today.
It's like Keane and Scholes, isn't it? I'm not saying that Keane's crap.
We need a bit of variety in the squad, especially if we're even going to think about playing European football or doing a cup run next year. We've got like two midfielders, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? We're going to have signed 4. We've got to sign loads.
I nearly said we missed McTominay today.
Do you know what? I was literally thinking
when
we're on about depth, right? So when Solskjaer was in, we had Matic and Pogba. Those are your real footballers. You proper, you know, that you could compare them to like Mainoo and Casemiro. They're your footballers. But then you've got Fred and McTominay on the bench for a game like today. You'd probably started Fred and McTominay. Do you know what I mean? We had it under Fergie, we had Scholes, but sometimes Darren Fletcher would come in. Do you know what I mean? Geesman Park. You've got to have a variety. You've got to be able to play in a load of different ways. Where, unfortunately, right now, it doesn't matter who the manager is. Whoever the manager is, they've got Mainoo and Casemiro. Yeah. That's all they've got, and it'll work some games, and it won't work some games.
I think with that midfield of Mainoo and Casemiro, and obviously they didn't have a great game, but it's kind of like they're almost polar opposites in the sense of you've got Mainoo, who's obviously young, still developing. He's not got to his physical peak yet, and Casemiro's a bit older. He's kind of past his physical peak. So it's like you've got two players there who, quality-wise, I mean, if you don't think they've got quality, then fair enough. But I think most people who actually understand football can see that they're both two very, very, very good footballers. Mainoo at the beginning of his career, Casemiro at probably the end of his career. But you're right in the sense of none of them are at their physical peak. They're not at the you look at Declan Rice, you look at a Caicedo, you look at, you know, obviously Rodri's injury prone, but Rodri and even like a Onana for Aston Villa and you know, these kind of players who they're at their physical peak. They can handle the Bruno Gomes and you mentioned Joe Linton as well, Tonali. These guys are at that age where they're ready to battle every single game, whereas we've got Mainoo and Casemiro who are both very, very good players, but when you come up against a midfield full of just absolute warriors, it's going to be very, very difficult because your quality isn't going to be able to necessarily break through.
You get overrun, don't you? That's exactly what's happened this evening.
100%. And I think with one thing I will say though, I know people are probably going to hate me for saying this, but there are a lot of people out there who I feel like they couldn't wait for a bad game from Mainoo. I'll be honest.
The chat's been full of
I'll be the one to I don't mind being the one to defend him in times like this because I know there don't be a lot of people out there that will do it, but I don't mind it because I feel like with Mainoo, even the whole conversation about him having a few bad games, I don't think he's had a few bad games. I think today was just one of them ones where you can clearly see that he was out of his depth. But you know, the people out there that are like, oh look, I told you so. You told who so? He's most of the games he's played has been good, and we've won the games not because of him, but he's been a very valuable part of that. So I think there are a lot of people out there that are like, it's like a sigh of relief now. Look, I've proved everyone wrong. I told you that Mainoo can't play for United. He can't play in the Premier League. I've arrested, mate. I've arrested. He really is not as bad as people think he is. In fact, I think he's way better than the comments are probably making it seem.
He's not an issue, and if you think he is, then what's the question? Because
they'll love him next week. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, if I speak to someone who doesn't rate Kobe Mainoo, I question what they're watching. I really do. He didn't have a good game today. Like I said, I think, you know, each team has their strengths and weaknesses, and Newcastle exposed our weakness. Our midfield needs to be more athletic, absolutely. Mainoo needs someone next to him who is a bit of a powerhouse to get around the pitch. but that doesn't make him a bad footballer at all. He just needs someone to highlight his strengths. And by the way, nobody would have been talking if that goal would have flew in. That was going top corner. But Mainoo didn't have a great game today, but neither did a lot of our players. Look, he's barely even played the whole season, and he's come in and started every single game. He's 20 years old. Like, he's not going to have a blinder every single game. Look, today wasn't his best, but I think Newcastle is a tough place to go in a midfield too with their midfield, and we didn't really have the athleticism around him that he probably requires. And if you're going to build a team or a midfield around him, that's an important thing you look for in a midfielder you're bringing in the summer for sure. And we need depth, like you said. In certain games, Mainoo's going to be the guy to play, but in certain games you need that sort of bruiser type player, and we just don't have it.
It's scary because you're looking. You've just mentioned there. If we're talking budget wise. You're talking, two central midfielders, a left back and a right back. And then if you're really beating, you might look and go, do you know what? Might need a centre back here as well. Yeah. And you look at that and the cost of, I know obviously you have outgoings and that, but you look at it and think, just when you kind of think you're getting somewhere, but for the longevity and especially for next season, if we are going to be in Europe, touch wood, the Champions League, then you look at that, that's when you really have to start rotating players, like you say. You have to use your squad depth. This moment in time, Carrick can't really dip into squad depth because from now on till the end of the season, we've got like 10 cup finals. And that's why we're playing one game a week, so he's just playing his strongest team every week, isn't there? There's no mixing it up. Now, maybe this defeat will give him something to think about where he thinks, I do need to change it up. But obviously, we won't know. We've got the FA Cup
exactly.
now.
With who? That's what I mean. We've got no one to put in.
Someone just put a super chat in yellow bathing suit. Today has taught me Mainoo is not a starting midfielder. Well, who is in the squad? Who's starting ahead of him then? Please. I yellow bathing suit. Yellow bathing suit. If you're watching still, and I really hope you are, please super chat in. Who is starting instead of Mainoo for the rest of the season, if you don't think he's a starting midfielder? Who and why? I would love to know. Yeah. Please.
I think because we've got so little midfielders,
well said, Beth.
People are getting, it's all right to pick out an element of Mainoo's game, for example, and say, let's say he's not the most athletic. We know he's not the most athletic. Paul Scholes wasn't the most athletic. He could barely run. But we had 4 or 5 other midfielders who cover those holes. Do you know what I mean? Because we've only got 2 midfielders, really. Because they're not absolute perfect midfielders who do absolutely everything. By the way, who is? Apart from Zidane. like you don't really get many of them anyway. Yeah. So people automatically say he's not good enough just because he's not good at a certain element. If we had, players on the bench today, for example, Fred and McTominay, people usually have Fred and McTominay because they weren't good at the stuff Mainoo's good at.
Yeah, so true.
But if we had them on the bench today, Mainoo could have gone on the bench and one of them could have played and we probably would have had a better chance. So we definitely need, for me, the way I see it, we've got those 2 midfield positions and we've got 2 players who can play them, Casemiro and Mainoo, because realistically, I think he's out the picture. I think he's going to go in summer. For me, if you're going to try and play in the Cups next season, I'm playing Europe, you need 5, I think, to cover those 2 positions. We've only got 2 and one of them's going. Casemiro's going, so we're going to need 3, 4 midfielders.
We need at least 3.
Yeah, definitely need at least 3.
Palinch has said, having an interim is no reason to lose your standards. In context, that was a terrible result. We have to be a 10-man team to be Champions League worth it. We have to be a 10-man team to be Champions League worthy. These opportunities can't be passed up. Huge wake-up call. I agree. I think it is, something to be a wake-up call for the players that every single game is a cup final and you can't afford to take your foot off the gas.
What's good? It can be a wake-up call as well because Liverpool got beat and Villa got beat. So if let's say Liverpool had won yesterday and we got beat today, it hurts a lot more. Yeah. So we can get away with it. We've just got to crack on next week.
Yeah.
Mikey Teat says, Mainoo tonight was like watching Matic in midfield. Mr. United.
Respect Matic.
Yeah. Matic was, you're giving Mainoo a compliment. Matic was brilliant and very different players. Mr. United Mer says, when players show as much enthusiasm as playing for United as I am picking up my dog's poo, something is very wrong. Okay. Very Very weird one to put in, but I appreciate the super chat. Red Smurf says, we need minimum of 8 signings in the summer. We have one decent fullback in the whole squad and he's injury prone, and we have no midfield. The board must also sign a tactical coach, not a passion merchant. Jamie Gillio says, if we keep Shaw, Dell, Maguire, Ugarte, etc., this team will never win anything and Carrick cannot get the job. Moments FC, feel sorry for Bruno. Meg Affany says, Carrick finally found out players should be ashamed. So, finally found out after one loss.
You're not allowed to lose a game.
Toad Emperor says, if United wants to challenge for the title, this game sums up the squad, subpar quality and depth. Need world-class manager and players in all departments, but if United wants mediocrity, don't change anything. Daniel Thompson, thank you for your super chat. He says, hope you guys are well. As you said on X, Beth, fullbacks are essential to get in the summer. Very poor, except for Mazraoui. Midfield rebuild beyond crucial. Tonali is incredible. Him and Anderson and a third midfielder, no excuses. That'd be incredible.
I wouldn't mind that.
That'd be fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be transformative.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking
You'd be a
at the
different
Premier League
team
title
altogether.
if we sign those two.
Title
I don't
charge.
think it'll be that good, but.
Matteo Hernandez says, not only do we need 3 or 4 starters, we need a whole bench. We need 9 players in the summer, which sadly probably won't happen. Well, I mean, let's talk about that. Look, actually, I'll talk about this first, then we'll come back to that. Bruno Fernandes, very mixed reviews tonight, and I'll talk about it. I know Ricky's probably got an insane compilation
Case
coming
file.
up on
The reel's being
Instagram
uploaded now.
very soon. Look, I see where he's coming from. Personally, for me, all of the good qualities he has outshines the frustrating moments. For me, I want my number 10 to be creative. I want my number 10 to take risks. Today's performance, however, I mean, it's interesting because it feels like he's the only one trying anything, and if anything's going to come off, it's going to come through him. I mean, that ball to Euro at the back stick was fantastic. He put in an excellent ball to Mbeumo, which I thought he should have spun and shot.
Yeah.
Greg, producer Greg, I'm still saying he should have spun and shot on that one. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it feels like anything that we're going to get a goal from or is going to create a good chance for Manchester United feels like it's going to come through him, but that also comes with some mistakes, some frustrating moments where he doesn't make the right pass. I mean, Kev, how did you feel about his overall game?
Not as good as past games. I did think he was sloppy in possession at some stages. I won't lie to you. I was watching it, you know, I'm thinking, what's he doing there? You do get moments where he's a bit erratic, and you want to be in the crowd shouting at him, you know, like, time, you've got time on the ball. Bruno's Bruno, you know, he's going to do that. For me, for the misplaced passes, he makes up for it. You've just mentioned that pass then, it sticks in my head, the one through to Mbeumo. I think sometimes if players were fully on the same wavelength as him, we'd be even more devastating. I totally agree that, you know, Mbeumo should try and swivel and hit that with his left foot. I don't think he fully expected the pass to come through to him. The pass for Euro, obviously he got an assist again today as well. That's just Bruno Fernandes. I didn't see it as a main... I certainly didn't see him as an issue today. I think there was a lot of... I always say this about United. When we're off it, we have like 5 or 6 players, more than half the team that are totally off it. It's very rare that you see just Bruno off it and, you know, 10 others performing. So in that sense, you can actually react to that and make us... If you wanted to bring Bruno off, I think you always kind of keep him on because he is capable of doing things that other people don't do. I've said it many a times, you know, I think we agree, Ricky clearly doesn't, but you keep him on, especially in a game like that, at 1-1, even if he's not performing, you keep him on, just in case, free kicks, whatever it might be.
It was all coming through him. Even the goal that we scored to equalise was a good free kick from him. I mean, a great header from Casemiro, but at the same time, you know, you have moments where he gives the ball away that puts you under pressure. That's Bruno. But
this team looks to him for inspiration.
Yeah,
I know Ricky
is this spark.
Ricky can't wait for the day where he's out the team and maybe Cunha gets that chance in 10. You could see them players say at 1-1 in the second half. When we're looking a bit clueless and for ideas, everybody looks to that man for something to happen. You know, as if he's Harry Potter and he's got like a stick in his hand and he's just going to like pull out some magic potion or whatever and make everything all right. He's the one that the players look to for inspiration. And when it doesn't come through him, maybe he overthinks it, maybe he overtries too hard. And that's when the play becomes sloppy. And yes, you will get people saying, Bruno was rubbish this evening. You know, he didn't score 3 overhead kicks like he did last weekend and score a hat-trick midweek and whatever, you know, it's... I appreciate watching him, and I totally get it on nights like this when it's frustrating that he's gone out there, and again, the man never stops running.
I also
you get
think
them work levels like Cunha this evening as well.
Yeah, I'll move on to Cunha in a sec, but I also think if Bruno is in a team that was like at his level, he wouldn't always be trying to force these different things. I do feel like you said, sometimes it's like, so when's Bruno gonna come to the party? He does force it too much sometimes. With that, you get so many amazing passes.
I don't think you can take that out of his game.
You can't,
How can
because
you tell him now at that age, you need to cut this out?
Because I want my 10 to be creative, and I want my 10 to produce all the moments Bruno does. So you are going to get them moments, but you get them moments because I feel like saying, anyone else going to turn up to the party? Is our left back going to get a cross in? Is our right back going to get a cross in?
Yeah, I mean,
it feels like he's the only one providing the service at some moments. I mean, Mordzs, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, you mentioned it kind of briefly at the end. I felt like the player today who was going to make anything happen was Cunha. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like if anyone today was going to make, and not even if they was, because I think Cunha did make something happen, and I mentioned it before, the cross where there was no one in the box, and he did it a few times, and I felt like, you kept on talking about how like, if Bruno's looking around asking people who's going to do something, I think Cunha was looking around asking everyone who's going to do something. I think he was one today, he was really actually getting stuck in on that left-hand side and creating chances and being direct and being aggressive and actually taking the game to Newcastle. So, obviously, the assist was a great cross to Casemiro, great header as well, and we are going to appreciate it for those things. But the thing with Bruno is, when we lose, Bruno's games look 10 times worse. When we win, it looks amazing.
That's so true.
His games look amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, Bruno actually had an amazing game today. But Bruno could have the exact same game, but if we lost that exact same game, it would look 10 times worse.
Could have had the exact same game, and the fine margin, which isn't even in his hands, of Euro putting the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. Oh, Captain Bruno. Yeah. 2 assists. He's got us out of St. James. Do you know what I mean? It's not even in his hands. It's not even up to him.
Literally the exact same. Like today, if, like you mentioned, if Europe scored that header or Mbumo scored that chance or one of the crosses that he put in someone, if any of those went in...
That pass into Mbumo was silly.
It would have been like the best Bruno game in the world, and everyone would have been praising him, and he would have had however many assists and whatever, but it's because we lost, it's like, oh, Bruno, it's a stinker today. None of them came off, you know what I mean? So, I'm not really too... I know there's people whose mind changes with Bruno every single game. My mind's not changed with him. I still think he's one of the best, if not the best player in the Premier League so far this season. And I really want him to break the assist just to have something, just to take that home, because, not even because, it's all about stats. That's not the reason. But I feel like if Bruno isn't going to win the Premier League, and I hope he does one day with United, if he doesn't, I want him to leave with something. Have something to at least claim if he does eventually go on to another team. But like I said before, I think Cunha was the guy who was really the standout performer in our front line.
Do you know something about Bruno? I've gone through phases where Bruno's frustrated me. And, there's been maybe a few week spells every now and then where I've been thinking, look, we might actually be a better team without him. However, I think the last couple of years I've accepted Bruno for what he is. And I think I'd rather my captain die on his sword and turn up every game, show up and get the ball. Every game, most touches, every game, most passes. I think I'd rather my captain do that, and every now and then it goes wrong for him, rather than having someone who doesn't. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what I want from my captain. I want my captain to be the face of the team. I want my captain to show up. Yeah, he don't get it right all the time, but come on, who does?
Yeah.
So I think one of my biggest frustrations in football, I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, it's unrelated to Bruno, it's just in general about football. And people, it was in regards to a manager and a long-term manager and stuff like that. And people expect you to play absolute pristine football every single game.
It's not realistic.
It don't happen, I'm sorry. People expect you to be playing this absolute Barca 2009 football every single game. And if you have one game off, you're not good enough, you've been exposed, you're not coaching them right.
But you know what, as well, Tul?
It's never going to be like that. You're living in a dream world, it's not going to happen.
Do you know what, as well, Tul, what they'll say as well? What? And then they'll say, we need 2 new fullbacks, we need 2 midfielders, 3 midfielders, we need another striker, but you can never lose a game, you've got to play amazing football every week.
I hate hearing, oh yeah, we won, but we played shit. It's just what it is sometimes. You're never going to have it perfect every single game. No one does. Or people are like, oh, well, City did in 2018. Yeah, it was one-off. Do you know what I mean? Is that this is why those teams are talked about as like the best teams ever.
I still think we should have won today, though.
Yeah, I'm not excusing today. I've had, we got beat by 10 men. I'm just going on a bit. I went on a bit of a tangent then about it frustrates me how people.
No, but even Arsenal aren't playing well this season.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not blowing teams
Do you know
away.
what? Arsenal played beautiful football for 20 years. They won fuck all. and do you know what? Now that they're actually playing, pragmatic, they're probably going to go and win the lot. What do you think Arsenal fans would rather have? Oh, take me back to 2015 and we're fourth place, or 2016 when we were fourth place. They'd rather have the trophies, man.
But you are right in a sense. Don't get twisted. Obviously, like I would have much rather us win today.
Yeah, well, that was completely unrelated to the game today.
Like there are definitely some concerns that you have to look at, and I don't think it is just one game today. I think there are concerns that we have seen over, the past few games in particular aspects of the pitch. But you are right in a sense of, look, did City have a greatest game today? I didn't watch the game, but they drew against a relegation battling team. You're going to say Pep should get sacked. You know what I mean? Are you going to say Haaland should be dropped or whatever it is? No, you're going to look at it and say, you know what? I still understand how good these players are. I still understand how good the manager is. They didn't do well today, but I know what they can do going forward. And I think that's just how every single team works. But I think the problem with United is we're in this weird phase where it's like nobody agrees on anything. You know what I mean? Like there's such a big disagreement on the whole club, the manager, every single player there seems to be a disagreement on. Like every single player. Like some people think Bruno's good, some people hate him. Some people love Luke Shaw, some people hate him. Some people love, I don't even know, Mainoo, some people hate him. Like there's such a big disagreement throughout the whole club. It's like no one can, there's no harmony. You know what I mean? Like it's like there can't be a universal kind of agreement when it comes to anything. So every single game, whether we win or lose, there's going to be so much turmoil all over the internet because no one can come to agreement on anything.
And you still have to look at the points tally. At the start of Carrick's reign to now, I know it's easy to say this, but if we'd have got beat by Man City in that first game and we'd have won this game this evening and you add up all them points, you'd have looked at it, it's still a fantastic return for what Michael Carrick's done at Manchester United. What it is the expectation level after beating Man City, beating Arsenal away. The expectation level rises. I'm guilty of that. I don't mind saying it as a supporter. When we were 1-1 at half time, or whenever it was, and we're hearing that Man City had drawn to Forest, even I'm looking ahead and I'm going, win this evening, we're coming for Man City. And that's me as a fan, like, we're coming for Man City, we're making points up on Man City this evening. It's what you do as a supporter, as a fan, innit? You just get carried away slightly, but you do have to look at the points that Carrick has got in that run of games, and it's still very, very impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, he is right in what he said, though, and I'll bring in his quotes because I think the fact it's against 10 men is what makes it even the more damaging is the fact that I just find losing against 10 men so inexcusable. But Carrick has said this: we're not happy with the way we played tonight. We're bitterly disappointed. I don't think it was the 10 men. I just don't think we played good enough tonight. We can't make any excuses for that. Why was the character lacking? The interviewer asked. It wasn't. It was just the quality in the performance, not the character. We wanted to win. We weren't there in terms of quality. Credit to Newcastle. They deserve to win tonight. We've lost one game. We haven't played well enough in the grand scheme of things, but we are in a good position. So, just...
It is
level-headed, grounded answer.
It's fine lines. We've just mentioned then, on another day, if Euro puts that header away, and Bruno putting it over from 8 yards in the first half, the save from Mainoo, these are fine lines. If goals change games, if these had gone in at certain times, it has a huge effect on the game. But the longer that Newcastle stayed in it, which would have been their game plan, the more difficult it become for United. You could see they got frustrated, and they did keep trying in that second half, but... everything kind of went for them, didn't they? As Tul's just said, that is football and it does happen sometimes. But the tough thing is, it is tough to take because it was against 10 men. But again, it can galvanise a team into putting in 110% in a football game because they've got to compensate for having a man less on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree.
Everton beat us at Old Trafford with 10 men.
No, we were terrible.
Yeah. Oh no, we weren't as bad as that. On this evening, performance level wise.
We have some super chats coming in. Jamie Gaiolo says, the standards of this great club have dropped dramatically. Shaw, Dallo, Maguire, Ugarte have to go. We're settling for mediocrity. Don't drag Maguire into it.
I was going to say, I think Maguire's getting a tough rap there.
Phil Prince says, doesn't excuse losing to 10 men. I take any win. Glenn325 says, we are so slow in the final third. By the time we've got people near the box, Newcastle are already well organised and we've lost the opportunity. Anthony J. Tracy says, Bruno plays Russian roulette. Would Pep play him? Ricky's burner. Pengas92 says, Mainoo chat is like listening to politics talks these days. He's either the worst player ever or the messiah. Maybe the middle ground is the truth. Good at some things, bad at the other.
Spot on.
Bad at the others. Paddy Haim says, this was an absolute joke of a game. Cunha in the first half was not able to play the simple ball to Bruno for him to play to Sesko through. Just shows he didn't click. Selfish football doesn't work. I think that's a bit harsh. I thought Cunha looked bright. Dad Rock Norway says Bayern Deer would be a better left back than Malacia. Meg Afferty says it's not okay to lose. When Man United shows your standards when you laughed about losing one game. It's safe, boring football. Carrick isn't the answer. Look, Meg, we're all gutted we've lost the game. But what do you want us to do? Come here and sit here and go, we've lost the game.
Maybe that's what they want. We need to give the viewers what they want, because sometimes I come on here after a defeat. I don't necessarily want to be here or whatever, I give up my time here to come on and talk about Manchester United, and then people come out with comments like that. It's like, come on, man, it's
so frustrating because I don't think people understand how annoyed and frustrated we get at any loss for United. Like when we're sat here watching the game or when we're in Old Trafford.
Look at this
it
lot
hurts
laughing,
us so
smiling.
much.
What do you want us to do,
it's
man?
therapy. We've got to get through the therapy. Oh, honestly.
Shame on that United stand lot. They're laughing, smiling after a defeat. It's not my fault they got beat, is it? I've just got to come out and talk about them as a fan.
We should be doing laps around the pitch.
I'm not accountable for this result. It's not on me.
Exactly. Phil Prince says, you aren't allowed to lose a game. Did I miss the fact we lost to a team with 10 men with 5 losses in 6?
Yeah, we beat City and Arsenal, mate. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and let's get it right as well. I never realised how much I actually hated Newcastle until this evening, because at the end I'm thinking, where are the pyrotechnics? Why are they not like setting up that, the Premier League winners board and all that? The fans are going wild. You've got grown middle-aged men with tops off in the crowd. I'm looking, they keep cutting to Alan Shearer. I'm sure if Ant and Deck were there, they would have cut to them. And I'm like, I don't actually.
Cut fine off of them.
Yeah, Tul said before.
They've already tweeted a picture. Who's that team you call United with them all in it?
Yeah.
Don't rise to him, Kev.
Do you know what? I'm so close to taking this bait. I swear. Wait until I get off air.
Yeah,
Wait until I get off air.
Getting straight on his burner and having a go.
I will be. Yeah. Why are we arrived? Right. They've created this thing where Newcastle think they have some kind of historic rivalry with Manchester United. I couldn't give two shits about them. I would never look at the fixtures at the start of the season and go, when do we play Newcastle? Because I don't care that lot. Because we were in a title race about 30 years ago, in the 90s, when Kevin Keegan had a bit of a meltdown, and they think that they're like title contenders and some kind of challengers to us. You're nothing. Good night.
The thing is, right, they've won tonight. Who won the last final that we played against them? United won the Carabao Cup against them.
Yeah.
Who's in third place Champions League spot? Man United. Who's in 12th spot in the Premier League and not really looking like they're going to get into Europe? Newcastle.
Do you know what? Getting above Sunderland.
Let them have the night. They all look like they were enjoying it.
And I hope they lose half of the players as well in summer.
Yeah. A couple of them come to us if they want.
Yeah. Just to rub it into Nali. Yeah, we'll take him.
And they come as well. You know they come as well.
You know why? Because Manchester United is bigger than Newcastle.
They love Toon. Yeah, we'll see, mate. We'll see how much they love him.
Slap 100 mil. We'll give him 100 mil. I'll take it. 200k.
There's only one United.
Beth, thank you, M. Parker, for your super chat. Very lovely. I will try and keep smiling. Someone wants me to smile. Billy Welch says, a Bruno-led team and a Bruno-led midfield will also produce a team like this. Almost every game will be close and luck will play a big part. Ray Simpson says, we can't hire Carrick. Stretford Signal says, educate yourselves. You can bring Rodri, but if you give easy training sessions and days off, you cannot moan. Our players look overweight. Talk about fitness. What players look overweight?
What training sessions are we talking about?
I think that's way off the mark. I don't know
I think we need a more physical team overall with more athletes in it, but I don't think anyone looks overweight. Red Smurf says, Carrick is the love child of Southgate and Ollie. With this kind of football, we're getting rinsed next season. Our club is run by Muppets.
This is another thing that frustrates me, right? Sorry to barge in on a super chat. How long's Carrick been here? 8 weeks or something? Yeah. You ain't implementing a style of play in 8 weeks. I'm sorry, all he's done is change the formation to what we all said he's going to do. I'm not taking something away from him there. Yeah. I'm just saying, people say, oh, this Carrick style of play is nonsense. It's not there yet. It's been 8 weeks. What do you think he just puts it in overnight? It don't happen like that.
You know why it don't make sense? Because they were the same people that would have gave Amram an excuse for not having started
playing. Yeah, we need to give him more time.
We need to give him 17 signings. We need him to do this. But there's a reason why we're suffering. But
yeah, when he's had 5 wing backs.
But Carrick hasn't got a style of play in 8 weeks.
That's just a general thing about style of play. I just think, I always hear the style of play thing and I think, how quick do you expect it to get coached into a team? Do you know what I mean? 8 weeks. What really are you going to coach a team to do in 8 weeks?
That's even if he's like fully tried to because I said it on the countdown to kickoff when Reece was here. I said, look, Carrick's only job right now is to get as many points as he can. They said to Carrick, look, you're not here to manage the club, by the way. You're here to be a head coach. You're here to be a coach for these group of players. You're not going to get no signings in January. You're here to coach these players to get the most amount of points you can to the end of the season. Then we can talk about everything else. If you do a good job, we can have the conversation about going further. But up until the end of the season, your job is to just get the most amount of points, get us into the Champions League, and that's it. Job well done. So what Carrick has done so far, I know obviously we've lost today, but what Carrick has still done so far, I don't know how many points it is out of whatever, like 18 and 24 or something like that. But I still think that's a great job. I still think he's done a very good job so far in terms of just being able to get the most amount of points. So yeah, like you said, in this whole argument about he's not coached a style of play and blah, 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 and like, what did you think he was supposed to do? His job is literally just to get points.
Because I'm not even thinking about it because I'm not thinking about it until summer. You know, I'm not saying all this because I want Carrick to be the manager. To me, it's just irrelevant right now. We've just got to do what we've got to do till the end of the season. Come the end of the season, if Luis Enrique goes, want the United job, I'm going, yeah, mate. I'll take you right now. Yeah. I'm not saying I want Carrick to be the full-time manager. I'm just saying, just have a minute. Do you know what I mean? Just remember why he came in the first place. Just go back to when we brought him in and just remember what he's here to do, and he ain't doing a bad job at it.
Do you know what frustrates me as well? When I say I want Premier League proven players, and when I say Premier League proven, people automatically say, you've got such British bias. They don't have to be British. They don't have to be British. But people label this British bias on me all the time because I wanted Declan Rice, because I wanted Harry Kane, etc.,
etc. Players that are Premier League proven.
But they don't even have to be British. He's just the best. He's just the best players in the Premier League. Yet people will say because Carrick is, an ex-Manchester United player, because he's managed, he's an English manager. It's like, and I know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't English, but he's an ex-Manchester United player that's managed United. They'll go, they're all the same. Ole, Southgate, Carrick, they're all the same. It's like you're tarnishing all these managers with the same brush, but they're not all the same. They're different people, they're different managers. Just how not every foreign player is a bad player. That you get from a different league. Not every player from a foreign league is a bad player. But also, not every single Premier League proven player is a good player. Everybody's different in their own right.
I don't even think it's fair to compare managers the same way how we compare players. Because with a player, you know exactly what they are. You're not gonna Mbumo's not gonna suddenly just become Bruno because you put him in Bruno's position. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna take Dalot and he's automatically going to become as good as Maguire because he's a centre back. That's not how football works. But when it comes to players, you know their attributes and you know what they can do. So it's way easier to compare the two players. For example, when you're picking a team or whatever it is. With managers, the whole point of being a manager is you have to be able to adapt anyway. Because a manager, you can't take a game off. You know what I mean? Like every single manager, you can't say next week, we're playing Newcastle, let's bring in a new manager, for today's game. You know what I mean? Like so to compare managers the same way how we compare players doesn't even make sense. Every manager is their own person, and the whole point of being a good manager is being able to look at each individual game, each individual season, and be able to adapt to the situation that you're in. So to look at Carrick and say, what Carrick's doing now is going to be the same as what Ollie did 6 years ago doesn't even make remotely any sense, or to compare him to every other interim manager makes no remote sense because they're two completely different people in two completely different situations.
The only thing as well that I would say is what is a little bit concerning is the performance drop-off. We've not played well in like 3 or 4 games. That is a bit concerning.
We did expect that when he first come in because the Man City game was, I'm not saying it was a free hit, but when he come in, because it's a derby, or as Roy Keane would say, a derby, to get that one in.
By the way, did you see he said he didn't support United? Really did my head in that.
Yeah. I think he's totally burnt his bridges, Roy Keane.
Oh,
See, it doesn't affect his weekend whether we win or lose.
I'm not surprised, I'll be honest.
You were captain of the club for God knows how many years. You're a legend of the club. How can it not affect you if we win or lose?
I'm sure he's contradicting
upset me
himself
as a fan who loves
years
Roy
ago,
Keane.
he did say, and he said he used to go to Old Trafford every weekend to watch them, so I don't know what's going on there.
I seen him look like he'd been ripping his hair out at De Gea and Maguire once. Remember when he was saying he wouldn't let him on the bus?
Oh, yeah.
He definitely cares. He's having a laugh. See, his hair was all over the place.
Sorry, Kev.
What was I going to say? Against Manchester City, you knew you were going to get that uplift with Carrick. I totally agree with this thing about it. It's even on social media and that people on about Carrick ball, you know. You wouldn't necessarily see that. I mean, that would take months and months of if he had some kind of an ideology or an idea of how he wanted to actually play football. But yet, after the Man City game, I mean, I seen it, even mates that I met, they were like, did you see that Carrick ball against Man City? And I was like, he had about 2 or 3 training sessions that week with him. And they were like, it's unbelievable, isn't it? The difference between him and that Amorim. And I'm like, yeah, but come on. And I was like, he's just come in. He's reverted to a system that most of these players would have played all their lives, so they're familiar with it. And then he's just made a few tweaks. He's put Bruno back in his best position, Mainoo into the midfield. Bob's your uncle, you know. And it was, I'm not saying it's as simple as that, but by God, it made things a lot more easier. It's not necessarily a style and an identity that Michael Carrick's got, because I'm sure if you ask Middlesbrough fans, you know, is this how he played at Middlesbrough? Oh, Carrick, yeah, he was brilliant, him, you know, Carrick ball and all that, because, you know, it didn't work out too well there. So he knows the club. He's we see how we go till the end of the season.
Exactly. I don't think anybody has said absolutely give it Carrick. People have just said let's wait and see where we're at the end of the season. We have to be patient. Anthony Tracy says we were top of the league in XG under Amorim.
Come on, man, let's go back to them days. What do you win for that exactly?
I can't do it any longer.
What do you win for finishing top of the XG charts? Is that quite a historical thing to do?
I can't.
That might be the worst super chat we've ever had.
Rob Edwards got back-to-back wins
out
with Wolves before Amorim did with United in shorter time. Come on, please. Please, we lost Europa League final to Spurs of all teams. Please.
I just don't want to go back to them Amorim days. I just don't want to think about that.
Oh, gosh. Anyway.
Darkest time in my life.
Salas7598 says, we've been poor since Fulham, so maybe that's why people are annoyed. Please stop acting like the fans' concerns are not valid. When has anyone acted like the concerns aren't valid? I've said the performance has dropped off and that is frustrating. I mean, we're just trying to be a bit level-headed, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course.
I just think, just be more grateful, man. Like, I know that's a mad thing to say, but how can you not be more grateful when we used to get beat all the time under Amorim? Like, just enjoy it for a little bit, man. Like I said, wait until the end of the season. There's no pressure on anything to be, in fairness to Ineos, I think they are a little bit more level-headed in terms of they actually are going to wait until the summer. They're not going to give Carrick the full-time job in a week. Do you know what I mean?
I don't trust Ineos.
They're actually going to wait till summer, aren't they? And then make a decision. But for now, let's just chill, man. The pressure actually, when you compare us to other clubs, really, the pressure's not really on us. Villa have got more pressure on him. Liverpool have got more pressure on him.
I don't think they do, you know.
I don't think
Villa got more pressure than us. I don't think Villa expects to get Champions League anyway. I think Villa right now are in a position where they're still in the Europa League, which is obviously good for them. They're in a Champions League position, which is amazing for them. They could win a trophy. I think they're still in 2 trophies, maybe. I don't know. I think they're still in 2 trophies.
They've overachieved.
Yeah,
to an extent.
100%. I think if Villa win a trophy and get top 4, that is the best season they've probably ever had in the last 10 years.
Especially considering the money they've had to spend and the squad they've got and the injuries they've had.
Yeah.
Dylan Hardman has said, I've got to say we really miss Martinez today.
Oh, Spot, I really wanted to bring that in. Can we talk about him later?
We've got 1 minute of the show left, so go for it.
I agree. I was literally thinking on my list of things to bring up, but I'll leave it at Martinez.
Aggression.
I think we on the ball more so. Do you know how we were on about lack of ideas? I think Martinez
carrying the ball into midfield.
I think he ups the tempo a little bit. Spraying the ball out to Cunha, spraying the ball out to Ahmad usually. Yeah. I think we do miss that a lot at the moment, so I don't know how long it is till we get Martinez back, and he's injury prone anyway, so we might get him back next week and then he might be gone the week after. That's just what it is with Martinez. But yeah, we could do with him back, and we, as well, talking about injuries, I do fear that a couple wrong players get injured, it could go downhill fast. I think Maguire gets injured and Martinez is still out and Dillett's still out. I don't know whether I'd fancy us all of a sudden. Do you know what I mean? So we do need a little bit of luck till the end of the season as well.
We are thin on the ground in terms of depth of quality and players that are ready, I would say.
Yeah.
Jay Walling says, we desperately need both Anderson and Tonali or a Locatelli style player profile in midfield along with better fullbacks. Spot on. Christine2830 says, I love this club, but I've played poorly in the last 4 games. Let's see where we end up at the end of the season. Do we really believe this manager and team could play in the Champions League? It just, honestly, the manager thing we're parking to the end of the season, and the team, it really depends what we do in the summer. Summer recruitment is huge. It's huge.
Have to.
Remendoza says, we're going to find out what this group is made of. Absolutely. Stretford Signal says, Southgate football is here. We've got fitness of a 13th/18th places team now. When will you guys learn? Forget losing the last 5 games. Have we deserved to win?
Why don't we deserve to win Everton away? I know the Palace game. You can say we were crap in the first half, but and the lucky red card. But I don't think it's been every game we've been crap. Like the Fulham game, for example. I know it went a bit
Everton did batter us
at the end.
They just tried bullying us on corners.
Yeah. Thabby So says, Ricky and Shaw cost us again. Always a second ball. I like having him midfield. Anderson has put a marker on his price against City. Anthony Tracy says, you wanted a back 4 and Bruno at 10 and Mainoo in. Anthony Tracy's really not feeling...
That's Aaron's brother.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, Anthony Tracy, thank you for your super chats. Every opinion is welcome, but wow.
I'd rather be top of the XG table.
Well, do you know what?
I was just
Sack Champions League football. Let's just be top of XG.
At the end of this season, if we're top of the XG league, we are booking an open top bus. And we're on
Can't wait to play Real Madrid next season.
We're going away. We'll go away for the weekend.
San 7000 says 6th is 3 points away. The nightmares feel too close. Yeah, we've got to be on it. Red Smurf says it's not the style of play, it's a lack of tactical experience. Sorry to hurt the panel's feelings. The members have opinions that are different from yours. Maybe act a little bit more professional. Okay. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That is absolutely fine, and we validate every single opinion. Of course we do. But what do you want us to do? Sit here and say yes, you're absolutely bang on. If we physically don't agree with you, it's fan opinion, and we want different fans. That's why we have Ricky on every week. Ricky's just got opinions that a lot of United fans don't agree with. Some will, and he's fantastic in that aspect. It's just about debate, and you can have your opinion in, and we can debate it. That's what it is.
We're actually 3rd on the XG table.
Oh.
We're above Arsenal.
We're in title race.
Yeah, we are in the title race.
Arsenal are 4th in the top of the league, so I wonder which one they'd rather have.
3rd in the league as well, Premier League.
We've also got a few more super chats coming in. United Nick says it'll be the real test for Carrick after this loss and to see how he reacts. We need to play a lot better against Villa and get 3 points.
Good comment, that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially at home, Old Trafford, Villa. They're a competitor for top 5. It'll be a huge test. Gray says we've been poor for weeks, so no surprise we got found out. Same as Villa, who are now being exposed. Poor performance, catch up with you eventually. Simon Eric says, Mainoo is not that bad in terms of ability, and I don't even mind his lack of defensive abilities. My issue with him is fear. He doesn't take any risks since Carrick came in. And we also have Jamie saying, the standards of this great club have dropped drastically. Shaw, Dal, Maguire have to... Oh, I've done that one. And Maguire was unfairly brought into it. But look, thank you to everyone for bringing super chats in. San 7000... welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Red Smurf United, thank you again for your super chats. Thank you everyone for getting involved. Look, it's all about opinions, and that's the most important thing. We did a countdown to kick off tonight, and me, Reese, and Mordzs all picked a different front three. Things are up in the air right now at United. What we all know though, which is a fact, is we need Champions League football because we need to get quality signings, and that's a massive helping hand. Also, it's 11 days till our next game, and that is because we've flunked out of the FA Cup. But all in all, we just need to play more football next season. We need more football. We want to watch United playing games. We want to see us win. That's what everyone wants. Everyone has a different idea of how that looks, and everyone's just wanting the same thing, and that's what we're all here for. So
on the opinions thing, I mean, everyone's got their own opinion. We're quite privileged in the sense that we're on the United Stand and we can say ours. I'm not for 1 minute suggesting everything I say is the absolute gospel and I am always right, because I know for a fact I'm absolutely not. I'm privileged because I can sit here and I can get over my point of view basically to everybody that's watching, all the viewers and that. And I do like that interaction as well, the fact that people put in super chats, get in the group chat or the live chat and say what they're, we're not shooting you down saying, well, you're wrong. Sometimes I like to think,
it's just like a chat in the pub.
Don't agree.
Yeah,
don't agree. Do agree. Don't agree.
Red Smurf United's member for 67 months. So that's a long time. GGMU, love from Australia. Australia, which part? Mate. Which part of Australia? Yeah. I'm coming visiting very soon. Which part? I'll leave you with this though, everyone. I'll leave you with this. Ricky. Please tell me you can see the difference between when Shaw plays and when others play and when Shaw's not there. I'll leave you with that one. Look everyone, thank you very much for watching. Tul, it's been a pleasure to have you back on. Therapy Forum. It's not your fault, we lost, don't worry. Excited to have you back on very, very soon.
Thank you.
After that whole
today.
You were very confident. Watch my vlog that's coming out on YouTube.
I'm so confident.
I was confident as well.
Everyone was confident. That's what the run of wins did, but we have been humbled today. Yeah. And you got to take it on the chin. It could be worse. You could be posting who's that team you call United with a big squad picture when you sat in 12th place. Could be worse. Sorry.
Love that ending. Yeah, that'll do for me.
Thank you very much.
Therapy Forum.
Look,
first one in a long time.
Yeah.
But it does feel good. I do enjoy coming on here and just getting off my chest. I've always said some people pay for therapy. They go and pay somebody to talk to them. I can come here and
do it yourself.
Yeah, I'll feel a bit better about this when I leave this evening.
Yeah, and just to finish off, Red Smurf United and also Paddy Heem have gifted United Stand membership, so big legends there in the chat. Have a lovely night, everyone. We're touching on midnight here in the UK, so we're going to round off the show, but remember, tomorrow I will be back on the United Stand at a different time of 5 p.m. with football journalist Ben Jacobs, asking him all of his insights into Manchester United, transfer news, hopefully get a bit of an update on the Elliot Anderson situation, midfielders. Make sure you stay tuned for that at the later time of 5 p.m. live tomorrow on the United Stand. And on That's Football this week, there's loads to lock into. Friday night, it's Bundesliga Friday with a 7:30 kickoff. Bayern versus Mönchengladbach will be a cracking game. Make sure you're there. And it's FA Cup weekend. United won't be in it, but we've got games on That's Football for you. Goldbridge is doing 2 watch-alongs at 5:45. It's Wrexham versus Chelsea, followed by Newcastle versus Manchester City at 8 p.m. Can Newcastle scout both of the Manchester clubs in the same week? You'll have to stay tuned to see where they go. Look, everyone, thank you for watching. Have a brilliant day, night, morning, wherever you're watching in the world, and we will see you on the next one. Good night.